Has anyone ever played a trick on you before? Is it kindness? Is it generosity? Or is it something else entirely, like greed? Read the story and let me know what you think. Once upon a time, there lived a very cruel, greedy, and short businessman named Siddhiya. Siddhiya owned almost 40 acres of land, and all of it were mango trees. One day, he was wondering what he would do to maintain the land and maintain the firm for cultivation. So he invited a poor man named Mangaya, and he said this to him. "Listen to me, Mangaya. If you take care of my land, and if you cultivate all the trees and reap the fruits, I will give you 4 acres of land. Is that all right with you?" After listening to what Siddhiya said, Mangaya said this to him. "Thank you so much for the offer, sir. Since you have given me the opportunity, I shall stay here and I shall make sure that all the trees cultivate fruits, and I shall reap the benefits for you. But you have to keep your end of the promise of giving me 4 acres of land. That is important. Don't worry, Mangaya. You can ask anybody in this village," says Sita. "Once I give my word, I will never take it back. If you buy your word, are you able to cultivate fruits on this farm? I will make sure that you get 4 acres of land. That is my promise." "Sure, sir. I shall begin my work from now onwards," says Mangala. Mangaya tells everything that had occurred to his wife. His wife looks at him and says this, "Why should we reject the gift that God has given us? We should not lose this opportunity. Your hard work will always be prized." As both of them were talking, their son Ramu listened to the entire conversation. Their son Ramu was educated. He goes to his father, and he asks her questions in doubt. "Father, he wants you to work on the entire field, and he promises to give you 4 acres of land. After the work, what if he refuses to give you the land, and what would you do?" "Why would you ask me such a question, Ramu?" says Sita. Sita is a very respected man in the entire village. Why would he go back on his word? He is a great person. I understand that, father. But when it comes to money, you see the true colors of anybody in this world. How could you just take the man's word and proceed to work on the entire farm? That is quite risky, you know. Why don't you tell me exactly what I must do right now?" says Mangala. "Nothing much, father. Just tell Siddhiya to write an agreement in a letter so that we have proof." "Are you insane? That would be so disrespectful to a big man like Siddhiya. He has given me his word, which is already a huge grace for me. If I ask him to write it in a letter, think that would be very disrespectful of me to do. What would you think of me?" "Fine, father, I have told you what you need to know. But after this, it is your choice. People have already told me that Siddhiya is not a good and stingy man in the village," says Mangala. "I don't think what you are saying to me is true. He has given me an opportunity, and I am going to make use of it. I don't care what happens. This is my choice." From that day onwards, Mangaya moved into the farm of Siddhiya, and he built a tiny hut for himself. He started watering all the trees and started cultivating fruits. For years later, the fruits started flourishing on the farm. Mangaya went to meet Siddhiya, and he said, "Sir, our farm is now cultivating fruits. Please come and watch it with me." After listening to what Mangaya said, Sita becomes very happy and says this. "Fine, let us go see the farm and come back soon." Sita and Mangaya, both of them go to the farm. And Sita looks at all the cultivated fruits in the trees. After seeing all of this, he thought to himself, this Mangaya did exactly what he said he would. He has cultivated fruits in all of my trees on the farm. But now I must give him back 4 acres of land, and I don't want to do that anymore. I have to get rid of them as soon as possible. Only then would I be able to keep everything I have. Sita, thinking like that, did not want to occupy his land. Sita begins to think in a very greedy and shrewd way. Mangala looks at Sita and he says this. Sir, haven't you seen how exactly the fruits have been cultivated? Like I said, now it is your time for you to repay me with 4 acres of land that you had promised. Mangaya, this shows how much of an innocent and naive man you are, says Sita. As you can see the trees, yes, it is cultivating fruits. But these fruits won't be worth that much, because it is dry. This is the reason why you should have more experience before doing anything. No, sir, says Mangala. This has been cultivated correctly. Please see it properly. Mangaya, no, you do not seem to understand, says Sita. Are you trying to tell me that I do not know about my form? Siddhiya starts yelling at Mangaya in a very harsh way, just to drive them off the land. Mangaya was quiet for all this time, but he looks at Siddhiya and he says this. Sir, at least you have to listen to me first. I will not listen to you because you have not done a good job, says Siddhiya. None of these trees are cultivated properly for fruits. You do not know what you are doing. Both of them kept arguing with each other. But Siddhiya got upset and started yelling at him even more. Mangaya kept quiet. At that moment, Siddhiya realized that this was the right moment to do what he wanted. And he said to Mangaya, by the way, we both are arguing. I have come to understand that you don't want to be here in this land anymore. But even though you do not want to be in this land, you have done some hard work, and I will give you 4 acres of land, because I am not a bad man. Come with me. We shall go. Immediately, Siddhiya takes Mangaya to a land. But that land is very rotten and it doesn't look like it can cultivate anything. Siddhiya says to Mangaya, you see this land, it is mine. You can take it as yours. This is 4 acres of land. You do not need to work again on my farm. I have given my word and I have kept my word. So this is the land that you have now. What do you say? Siddhiya said to him. At that moment, Mangaya was shocked to hear Siddhiya's lies. Mangaya realized that he had been wronged and fooled. Mangaya gets very upset and he looks at Siddhiya with an enraged expression on his face. He says to him, Sir, I was at the promise that you would give me 4 acres of mango tree land. What will I do with this land? There is nothing in this land for me to cultivate. You better back on your words. Siddhiya looked at him and said, First of all, I only promised you 4 acres of land. I never promised you 4 acres of mango tree land. And by the way, none of the mango trees have been cultivated in my land. So I am not allowed to give you anything. But since I am a good person, I am giving you this land. If you want it, you can take it. Otherwise, you can leave from here right away. Siddhiya says this angrily as if he had been slapped in the face. After listening to Siddhiya, Mangaya went directly to his house and narrated everything that had occurred to his son and his wife. His son Ramu gets upset and he says to Mangaya, "Father, this is what I told you that would exactly happen. You didn't listen to my words. Wait and see what I will do. I shall teach this man a lesson. I will get back what we are owed. Just let me do it." After saying that, Ramu goes out of the house. He brought his friends home and narrated everything that happened to them. All three of them devise a plan to bring down Siddhiya. At that moment, Ramu looked at both of his friends and said to them, "I want you both to help me with this mission. I shall dress up like a sannyasi in a priest costume, and I want both of you to aid me in this act that we are doing." Ramu puts on a costume of a priest and sits under it, while both of his friends go around the town and preach about the priest. As both of his friends talk about the priest, several people from the village come to visit him with several offerings. One day, one of the men who came to visit said to the priest, "Sir, we have come to receive blessings from you. We know you are the highest of the highest, and we want you to change our lives." Since Ramu already knew about all the villagers in the town, he was able to talk to them like he already knew them, which helped them sell the idea of the priest very much. But it was all in vain, as Siddhiya did not show up as per the plan. Several nights passed by, and all the three friends gathered around and made another plan. Somehow, we are not able to get Siddhiya to come into this place. Several people who are selfish always come and visit you. But we are not able to get this man. Listen to me, friends, I have an idea for that. I want both of you to go and preach in the entire town that Guruji will be able to tell you how to find gold under the ground. If you make sure that Siddhiya hears what we say, he will come looking for us. Immediately, both friends went near Siddhiya's place and spoke to each other in front of Siddhiya, so that he could hear them speak. "I have a huge secret to tell you, Raja. Please do not tell anybody. This might become a problem." "What?" Raja said. "Is it about Guruji by any chance?" Yes. Guruji is not just a normal priest. He is also a very magical man. He can tell us how to find gold treasure under the ground." "Oh. But how do you know that the Guruji knows about this?" "Yesterday, while I was sleeping, I saw an old lady go to Guruji and ask her the same question, and at that moment Guruji told her exactly how to find gold under the ground. If we can track where the old lady is, we might be able to figure out how to find gold under the ground. By the way, let us also steal a few mangoes." After Siddhiya listened to what they discussed, he said to himself, "Yes, this is a great time to follow these two men, so I can also know where to find the gold. I should go and meet that Guruji, and get his blessings as soon as possible, then I will also be a good treasure hunter." Siddhiya thinks. That night, he went straight to Guruji. He bought a lot of fruits and milk and he fell on his feet to get his blessings. He got his blessings. And he stood up. He said to Guruji, "Sir, it is so glad to meet you finally. I have wanted to seek your blessings for a long time. I shall give you anything that you need. Please tell me where to find the treasure so I can find it myself." After listening to what Siddhiya said, Ramu responds to him, "What you are saying is very difficult to achieve. It is not very easy. Now I want you to leave here right away." After listening to what Ramu said, Siddhiya gets even more upset and insists on knowing how to find the treasure. "Sir, please do not say this to me. How can I leave here without knowing the knowledge?" Siddhiya keeps begging Ramu by falling on his feet and pleading with him. At that moment, Ramu realizes that this is the right time to execute this plan. Fine, I shall tell you exactly how to find the treasure. Come with me. As they kept walking, Ramu and his friends reached the land. Siddhiya and Ramu go to borrow land given to Mangaya. And Ramu puts a line in the land and he says to Siddhiya, "If you dig down here, you will be able to find several amounts of gold. I want you to take all the gold that you have dug and I want you to build a Shiva temple with the money that you made, okay?" After listening to what Ramu the Guruji said, Siddhiya immediately runs back to Mangaya's place to talk to him. Ramu and his friends left the place. Siddhiya looked at Mangaya and said, "Listen to me, Mangaya. I have been thinking about this for a long time. I want to get that 4 acres of land that I sold to you back and give you 4 acres of mango tree land because you are too old and you won't be able to do anything with such rotten land." Mangaya becomes afraid as he thinks he is trying to fool him again. Mangaya looks at him and he says, "No, sir. I don't need it. You can keep the land that you have and you can leave the land that you gave to me. You can keep it yourself, sir." Siddhiya was very upset with Mangaya for disagreeing with him. So, he starts arguing with him and he proceeds to offer him 10 acres of mango tree land. But Mangaya refuses again. Frustrated, Siddhiya then immediately makes it 40 acres of mango tree land for 4 acres of Mangaya's land. Finally, after an hour of arguments, Mangaya said okay. "Sure, sir, but I have one condition. You are going to have to give a written agreement that you are giving your entire mango farm to me right now." Siddhiya was so convinced about the gold in that barren land that he would give anything to achieve that. He agreed to give 40 acres of his mango tree land for that barren land. "Okay, fine. I shall give you the entire farm in a written and verbal agreement." Siddhiya agreed and made him sign for the entire 40 acres of mango tree land to Mangaya. Mangaya received the written agreement and he left after a while. Siddhiya went to the barren land and started digging in the same place that Ramu Guruji told him to dig. After digging for days, he realized there was no gold under that land and he started crying in pain. "What kind of man am I? I gave away everything for this barren land all because of that stupid priest. What have I done to my own life? This is miserable and I am in pain." Finally, Ramu's cunning plan exposed the man's greed, ensuring his father finally received his due. What he had been denied for so long. What do you think about this story? Ramu plays a clever trick on Siddhiya. Do you think it's fair that Ramu tricked Siddhiya, or should Siddhiya have kept his promise to Mangaya in the first place? What title best describes this story? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you have not subscribed to our channel, click the like and subscribe button. It will encourage us to upload more stories. Thank you. See you in my next